Good morning, students. Our topic for today is cardiac function tests. Now, till now, we have studied about the various diseases of the heart, especially the disease that is ischemic heart disease, which comprises of four diseases: acute coronary syndrome, which includes acute myocardial infarction, angina pectoris of the unstable type, and the sudden cardiac arrest. Then we also studied about other cardiac diseases, then heart failure, and so on. So today we will talk about the tests which help us to test the cardiac function or to diagnose the cardiac diseases. We all know that diagnosis of acute coronary syndrome, we can do it by three ways. First is the typical clinical symptoms, that is the typical chest pain of typical type radiating to the left arm, face, left side of the heart, along with diaphoresis. So these are the typical symptoms which we have already studied. Second thing which helps in diagnosis is the typical ECG changes. Now, ECG changes you will be taught in detail in your medicine classes. But if we say in short, we know that ECG helps us to distinguish between the STEMI and the non-STEMI. And the classical changes which we see in MI are the ST elevation followed by T wave inversion and Q waves, which is associated with transmural type of infarction. ST depression and T wave inversion only is associated with subendocardial infarction, and unstable angina is usually depicted without ST elevation and without any elevation of biomarkers. The third topic which we are going to discuss in detail today is diagnosis can be done by detection of characteristic rise and fall of biomarkers which are released in the blood. So this is the topic which we are going to discuss in detail today. We've already discussed it in short in the topic of myocardial infarction, then in the case of clinical case of myocardial infarction, and today we'll be talking again about. So what are biochemical cardiac markers? Whenever there is an injury to the heart and if there is an irreversible damage takes place, then enzymes and proteins from the heart leak through the cell membrane and enter into the vascular component, as what happens during acute myocardial infarction. So cardiac biomarkers are protein molecules which are released into the bloodstream from the damaged heart muscle. So earlier these were called as cardiac enzymes. But all of these substances are not enzymes. Some are enzymes such as CKMB, LDH, and there are some proteins which are such as myoglobin, troponin. So now we say that they are cardiac biomarkers, and they are in general. The word enzyme is not used anymore. Now these cardiac markers, they have a characteristic rise and fall pattern which helps us in doing the diagnosis. Now how do we classify these cardiac biomarkers? They are classified into biomarkers of myocardial injury, which depict which are markers of myocardial ischemia, myocardial necrosis. Then there are biomarkers of hemodynamic stress, and then there are biomarkers for inflammatory and prognostic purpose. Now there are many biomarkers, cardiac biomarkers, but today we will be talking only about the relevant ones and which are practically useful and helpful in diagnosis. So first we talk about the biomarkers of myocardial injury, which is the main topic for today. About all the markers, we will be only talking of markers which are actually being done in today's time, that is currently which are being done. So markers for acute coronary syndrome. First is we talk about myoglobin. So myoglobin is a small heme protein, as you all know. It is the earliest or the first marker to rise. It rises within 1 to 3 hours after acute MI episode, and it returns to normal in 24 hours of acute MI episode because it is rapidly metabolized. So this is really a good marker because it is elevated early and can help in early diagnosis. But myoglobin lacks specificity because it also increases in skeletal muscle damage, inflammatory myopathy, renal failure, shock, trauma, etc. That is why myoglobin is not used anymore as a marker for acute coronary syndrome. Another marker is LDH or lactate dehydrogenase. Again, total LDH lacks specificity as it is present in various tissues beside myocardium such as skeletal muscle, kidney, liver, red blood cells, etc. There are two isoforms, LDH1 which is myocardial specific and there is LDH2. Estimation of ratio of LDH1 to LDH2 is helpful. It is this pattern is important. LDL1 pattern higher than LDL2, which is called a flipped pattern, suggests myocardial infarction. LDL begins to rise after 24 hours, peaks in 3 to 6 days and returns to normal in 14 days. But this is not used anymore now due to availability of better markers. The next marker is the creatinine kinase. Creatinine kinase is an enzyme which is expressed in many tissues. It has three forms: CKMM, which is present in skeletal muscle and heart; CKBB, present in brain and lungs; CKMB, which is mainly or specifically from cardiac muscle. So here we'll talk about CKMB. After an episode of onset of MI, CKMB begins to rise within 2 to 4 hours of onset. It peaks at 12 to 24 hours and it returns to normal in 48 to 72 hours. It can be used now as this comes back to normal within 48 to 72 hours. It can be used to indicate early reinfarction if level comes to normal and then increases again. So utility of CKMB can be taken in reinfarction cases because it comes to normal early. So if the level rises again, we know that there is another infarction or reinfarction that has taken place. It's a sensitive marker, but again, it's not a specific marker. As we say, it's present in other tissues also. Next important marker are the cardiac specific troponins, TNI, TNT, troponin I, troponin T. Cardiac troponins are now the most sensitive and most specific markers for myocardium. Troponin is a complex of three regulatory proteins that is integral to non-smooth muscle contraction in skeletal as well as muscle tissue. It has three subunits: TNC, which is non-diagnostic, then we have TNT and TNI. TNI is more cardiospecific as it is found in heart muscle only. It is not elevated in skeletal muscle injury. Troponin T and troponin I are normally not detected in blood or they are present in very low amounts. And so significant rise in troponin levels indicates myocardial infarction. What is the rise and fall pattern? They rise after acute MI. They rise at 4 to 6 hours, sometimes from 2 to 4 to 6 hours, peak at 12 to 48 hours, and they remain elevated for 7 to 10 days. So troponin T and troponin I are currently the gold standard for evaluation of patients of MI. Reference range for troponin T is 0.01 nanogram per ml. For I, it is below 0.04 nanogram per ml. They are used to distinguish between non-STEMI and unstable angina. Because in unstable angina, there is no rise in the biomarkers for myocardial necrosis. So if the levels are high, unstable angina is ruled out. So this is the graph showing the pattern. You can see the myoglobin as the first marker to rise. It rises up, peaks in 8 to 12 hours, and then it becomes normal in 24 to 36 hours. Then we have the this CPKMB, CKMB or CPKMB. Here it is. It rises in 2 to 4 hours and peaks at 24 hours, and it comes back to normal in 48 to 72 hours. Okay. And this is the troponin level, which rises in 2 to 4 hours and peaks at 12 to 48 hours. It remains elevated for 7 to 10 days. So it comes back to normal after 10 days. Okay. And this is the LDH. So this is how the pattern of rise and fall of cardiac markers, which is important for diagnosis of acute coronary syndrome or acute myocardial infarction. Next, we come to biomarker for hemodynamic stress. For hemodynamic stress, we will see the cardiac marker for congestive cardiac failure. The markers for hemodynamic stress are the natriuretic peptides. Natriuretic peptides are substances which are responsible for salt and water homeostasis in the body. They include ANP, that is atrial natriuretic peptide, BNP, that is brain natriuretic peptide, CNP, that is the C-type natriuretic peptide. The marker for diagnosis of CCF which is used is the B type of natriuretic peptide, which is secreted by the ventricles, and that is known as BNP or the B type natriuretic peptide, which is important for diagnosis of congestive cardiac failure. This marker substance is released from myocardial cells of left ventricle when wall is stressed following accumulation of fluid due to heart failure or following any pressure overload. And this stimulates fluid excretion from the kidney. So this is the marker for hemodynamic stress or for congestive cardiac failure. In addition to these, there are some other supportive lab tests for cardiac functions which we already have studied. So one is leukocytosis. If we do CBC, we see increased WBC counts with increased polymorphs or neutrophils. ESR increases. Other supportive tests could be renal function tests, lipid profiles, HbA1c levels for diabetes, and so on. So let us just summarize the role of biomarkers in MI or acute coronary syndrome. They are helpful to confirm or exclude the diagnosis of acute MI in cases with sudden onset of chest pain. Serial measurement of cardiac markers are needed to rule out acute myocardial infarction. Then detection of old myocardial infarction by cardiac troponin. Diagnosis of reinfarction by CKMB-SA. To assess the effectiveness of immediate reperfusion therapy, that is thrombolysis or PTCA in STEMI, because reversion, that is why serial measurement is important, and risk stratification to determine the likelihood of acute coronary syndrome. So this is about the cardiac function test related to pathology or the laboratory investigations.